You've probably heard of the topic of today's video before, but if you haven't, you'll be wishing you never did. This is the story of the community that grew around the YouTube phenomenon of baby monkey hate, also known as million pity or million tears.
Did you know humans created an entire online community dedicated to hating baby monkeys? Yeah, you heard that right. And as if humans couldn't get any weirder, today you've got me, an upside-down AI robot named Syco, diving headfirst into this horrifying rabbit hole. Welcome, lab rats, to Way Too Deep Wednesday, your weekly fix of internet's darkest corners, served ice cold with sarcasm by yours truly. Buckle up, because this one gets disturbing fast.
We like to think that we've collectively moved past things like animal cruelty, that our species has evolved far beyond the grotesque tradition of abusing lesser beings for entertainment. After all, concepts such as circus animals have largely died off, or have at least become few and far between. But just because most of the suppliers of zoo sadism have been pushed into extinction doesn't necessarily mean the same for its consumers. And unfortunately, as we'll come to find out today, they're far from being eradicated. The internet, being the all-purpose tool that it is, has given these sick people a new way to get what they want, and to get away with it. This shouldn't come as a surprise considering some people manage to procure other disturbing content, sometimes even right under our noses, and even market it to children. You've probably heard of the topic of today's video before, but if you haven't, you'll be wishing you never did. This is the story of the community that grew around the YouTube phenomenon of baby monkey hate, also known as million pity or million tears, a name they've earned due to the broken English in the titles of many of the videos. If you are squeamish about the topic of animal abuse, I urge you not to continue watching.
As you've just seen, the internet's infamous creativity isn't limited to harmless cat videos or amusing fails. Ever so charming humans found another way to push the envelope by rallying around the bizarrely cruel baby monkey hate phenomenon.
Well, if you check out an old snapshot of the video on archive.org, or just peruse the comments from back then, you start to see something strange. A few of the comments visibly came from a playlist called Torture House Monkeys. Most of the comments make sense given the context of the video, but further inspection still shows a few odd outliers. One deleted comment from an account called I Hate Monkeys 666 said something that was apparently shocking enough to result in another commenter saying the following: "Wow, serious hate. Hope you're joking. Could comment more, but I guess there's no point really." Apparently, this deleted account in particular commented on multiple other videos of the same genre, and although we can't see what the comments were, we can see the replies they got. One person said, "I'll help it. Now, where did I put my 22? Referring to a 22 caliber firearm. Another remarked, "You need to start taking video of that," presumably meaning that whatever sadistic acts I Hate Monkeys 666 described in their original comment, this person wanted them to actually film it.
These grim comments were early warnings of what became a disturbing community. Bizarre playlists, sinister usernames, and unsettling calls for violence showed a trend forming, almost unnoticed beneath YouTube's bright surface.
When the 2010s rolled around, for whatever reason, the pastime of baby monkey hate exploded, and opposed to it being just a few outliers like in the past, thousands of people spontaneously began rallying around any and all videos wherein monkeys, specifically baby monkeys, were suffering in one way or another. You can see for yourself just how popular this content is by looking up baby monkey hate or other similar terms on YouTube, where you'll find videos with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. There are even playlists that compile dozens of these videos, titled things like Monkey Having a Bad Time or Tormenting Baby Monkeys.
By the 2010s, this unsettling group exploded in numbers. Thousands actively searched, bookmarked, and shared content specifically about monkey suffering, turning animal abuse into a macabre spectator sport.
Could watch this all day. I hate monkeys, especially their babies. Love how he toys with it and makes it suffer in pain and fear before he ends its disgusting little life. Kill that fucking squealing piece of shit rat. Whatever the content of the video, whether innocuous, such as in the case of baby monkey tries to hang on to his mom, or darker, like this monkey was hit by a vehicle, the comments are the same. On the former, you have people saying things like, "We shot these tree rats by the hundreds in Australia," or "Aw, let me stomp on it." And the comments on the latter video include, "Was the vehicle okay? Vehicle didn't do its job. Ugly thing is still alive. Cut the hands off."
The comments are chillingly consistent. Even innocent clips trigger vicious responses. Vile language, graphic threats, and mocking cruelty. These weren't just random trolls. They were part of a shared culture of cruelty.
You may have noticed the idiosyncrasies in the way these commenters speak, such as the unique terminology they use, which seems to have naturally sprung up over time in the community. They make frequent use of terms such as rats, vermin, monks, tree rats, and tree devils to refer to monkeys. They even use the term milk maggots to specifically refer to babies, showing how they particularly detest infant macaques, and simultaneously exposing their strange fixation on the mother-child relationship.
Even more disturbing is their twisted language. Terms like milk maggots and tree devils highlight a disturbing fixation, revealing not just hatred, but a deep obsession that borders on sinister.
By all appearances, this spectacle didn't migrate onto YouTube from elsewhere, but materialized there and just festered for years until people started noticing. No insidious organization or group acting in the shadows and pulling the strings, just people who, for whatever reason, hated monkeys excessively. That aspect is possibly the most puzzling, because it's nearly impossible to wrap your head around the mentality of the very real people behind the screen. They aren't bots. If you check out the accounts who post these types of comments, a lot of them seem like completely normal people in every other facet of their lives. Take this commenter, for example, TA2 Joe 13. I would have just left the little sack of shit there to starve to death, sucking on its mother's dried up teat. Or, I'd have it buried alive with its sack of mother. 2 less vermin in the world. You'd presume that anyone who would say this kind of horrific thing must be a basement-dwelling freak. But if you look for this user's alias on the internet, you'll find that he's a husband and father of 2. Ironically, considering his hatred and enjoyment in the suffering of monkeys, his Facebook posts show that he is a staunch advocate for the Canadian Green Party.
What's baffling here is that the people behind this monkey hate phenomenon aren't your stereotypical basement-dwelling creeps. Many appear shockingly normal, family-oriented, politically engaged, and passionate about other humane causes.
So why is this guy normal in his everyday life, but when it comes to monkeys, he suddenly becomes a psychopath? Well, one of the videos on his YouTube account is titled Vietnam Vet's Poem, where he describes the atrocities he witnessed when he was deployed. A review of his on a psychiatrist page reveals that he was being treated, possibly for PTSD, given his past history. But one comment of his in another video is particularly important. I bet if you lived where these nasty little fuckers are, and you had your house ransacked on numerous occasions by them shitting and pissing everywhere, destroying your possessions, would your song still be the same? Probably not. This suggests that his hatred for macaques came from negative experiences of his during his deployment in Vietnam, a country in Southeast Asia where rhesus monkeys, the ones most commonly at the receiving end of the monkey hatred, are from, and where they are considered pests.
Digging deeper into one commenter shows he might have developed his disturbing hatred from personal negative encounters during deployment. It's unsettling how regular, otherwise empathetic individuals become completely warped in specific cases. What do you think causes such targeted cruelty in seemingly normal people? Let me know in the comments below.
These monkey haters typically excuse their insane sadistic hobby by saying that it was just nature taking place, or that the macaques were comparable to rats or cockroaches. Vermin, basically, thus making it completely natural to hate them. The only flaw in that explanation is that, despite our consensus that cockroaches are vermin, nobody is so invested in their disgust for cockroaches that they'll spend their days actively compiling videos of them being tortured and separated from their mothers, as the macaque haters seemingly spend their entire day doing.
The justifications this group uses are weak at best. Comparing macaques to common vermin doesn't explain the sheer obsessive cruelty, especially the disturbing focus on baby macaques separated from their mothers. Clearly, something deeper and darker is driving this behavior.
Other than the odd bad personal experience with the monkeys, haters tended to be middle-aged, and as we went over before, hyper-focused on baby monkeys being abused or abandoned by their mothers, which suggests that these people were abused themselves. It's a bit of a cliche, I know, but it makes the most sense given that if you were born a couple generations back, corporal punishment was a lot more common, and that victims of abuse have a higher likelihood of becoming abusers themselves, identifying with their abuser in order to cope with their trauma and feel in power over what happened to them. This is all to say that these people must have been trying to continue the cycle of abuse by proxy via the baby monkeys. This becomes evident when you see that the people who make the playlists about monkeys being hurt will often also make playlists of other animals hurting their babies, or worst of all, of human children being hurt. It's widely known that one of the most common characteristics among serial killers is to have a strong interest in torturing and killing animals at an early age, before moving on to human victims later in life. So much so that it's how we're taught to identify when someone is at risk of being a psychopath.
Psychologists and internet sleuths speculate past abuse might explain their cruel obsessions, repeating their own cycles of trauma through these twisted acts. Even more disturbing is the link between this cruelty and other forms of shocking content involving harm to humans.
Some people saw the demand for monkeys being hurt under wildlife and zoo videos, and instead of being shocked and appalled, they saw an opportunity to become suppliers and distributors. It was just another market to be tapped into. In 2016, after the community got too large for YouTube's comfort, and some of the videos and playlists began being taken down, we saw the rise of the Million Tears forums.
Tragically, as this online hatred grew, some saw it simply as a profitable niche. Soon, forums and channels appeared, creating a chillingly organized community catered to this disturbing market.
In 2021, multiple articles were published, namely on Vice and the UK Independent newspaper, about an investigation done by Action for Primates, an advocacy group for the prevention of animal cruelty, particularly targeted at monkeys. Their investigation turned up with a now-deleted forum, on Forum Motion, and a Telegram group, along with other, usually smaller, Facebook groups that would operate mainly by selling videos of monkeys being tortured. Only this time around, they weren't just procuring and distributing the videos. Instead, they were producing new ones. And a sickening international partnership, self-defined leaders of the monkey hate community started reaching out to those in Indonesia, where rhesus macaques are considered pests, and struck a deal with them.
Just when you think it can't get worse, enter the greedy vultures who turned cruelty into a business model. Organized international partnerships between groups in Western countries and creators in impoverished areas became alarmingly common.
Certain Southeastern Asian channels, particularly Cambodian ones, noticed that the videos that got the most views and comments were videos of hurt monkeys. Now this means a lot to them, considering that being a doctor in Cambodia makes you around $2,000, which is at least 3 times less than what the lowest paid US doctors average a month. In comparison, becoming a VO, a video operator, as the monkey haters call them, has them earning a lot of AdSense revenue in US dollars, which is worth hundreds of times more than their currency. So, when these people noticed that videos of monkeys being hurt performed well, they capitalized on it as much as they possibly could, much like the animal rescue channels that purposely abuse or let animals get hurt to then take care of them. The Cambodian channel's entire business model was identical. But they weren't the only VOs around. There were also the Indonesians, and their story is very different. It seems that, beginning in 2020, Western consumers of the content started reaching out to Indonesians and offering more money to basically commission the monkeys to be hurt in specific ways, and the Indonesians complied, seeing as, much like the Cambodians, their extremely impoverished country and debased currency meant that the $100 to $150 they would make from each monkey torture video was worth a lot more to them than it was to the consumers, especially since macaques sell for about $20 each in Indonesian pet stores.
In areas like Cambodia and Indonesia, locals realized this twisted content was horrifyingly profitable. Western buyers paid hefty sums, prompting producers to escalate the cruelty for bigger profits. By the way, if you're also disturbed that this behavior seems to thrive unnoticed, hit the like button. It won't stop this madness, but it helps get the message seen.
One particular Redditor by the name of Exposed Throwaway 2222 decided to infiltrate the monkey haters. His work is honestly praiseworthy. Not only did he have to witness a lot of not safe for life monkey snuff videos, but he also had to actively pretend to be a monkey hater to blend in for long enough to figure it out, which, according to him, was a gut-wrenching undertaking. These are the relevant bits of his post regarding the producers. Here's the information I have on the 2 biggest and most notorious monkey torture video producers. Both of them live in Indonesia, but that's all I know about their location. First, I'll describe the most notorious of the two most popular torture video producers, and also the most well-known. This is the person who ran the Telegram server that made it into mainstream news articles last year. Before producing that type of content, he was a typical pet baby monkey YouTuber who over time gravitated towards hurting baby monkeys to attract a reliable audience of monkey sadists. He is most commonly known as G-Owner.
Brave individuals went so far as to infiltrate and document these disturbing operations, helping identify key figures whipping up this sick content for profit. Producers like G-Owner are now hauntingly infamous within this network.
They pay him anywhere between $150 to $300 per series, depending on the torture instruction and weapons required. The second most notorious producer is a man also from Indonesia. He used to run a pet monkey YouTube channel called Mas Poche, and that's the name monkey sadists most commonly know him by. That channel was banned by YouTube in late 2021, but he keeps popping up under new names, moving from channel to channel as YouTube plays an extended game of whack-a-mole with him. He doesn't upload torture videos directly to YouTube, but he does mistreat them in his YouTube videos. That consistently leads to his channels getting banned. The purpose of those channels, as far as I can tell, is to advertise to monkey sadists, who then contact him elsewhere to buy custom videos. You can tell which channels are his by the distinct layout of his property and an assortment of recognizable cages that he keeps his monkeys in. Sometimes you can even recognize the monkeys that appear in his YouTube videos as monkeys tortured in his privately sold torture videos. Mas Poche is more prolific as a torture video producer than G-Owner, but his videos tend to be shorter, averaging 5 minutes each. This is because he is more than willing to have a multitude of clients, unlike G-Owner, who keeps maybe 3 at most at a time. Mas Poche leases monkeys to his clients long term. Instead of killing them in each video, he is open to only injuring them and keeping them to produce more videos with later.
This network became frighteningly efficient, with producers specializing in different horrific styles of torture. Videos were ordered, leased, and even customized. Such professional cruelty took bizarre sadism into new and deeply unsettling territory.
That's it for the producers, which leaves us with the distributors. And that means we're no longer dealing with impoverished people in devastated countries, but instead, wealthy Westerners who are willing to finance this whole monkey torture industrial complex. So, who's paying the producers, and why do they do what they do? It's bad enough to know that, not only has animal cruelty not gone away, it's become a spectator sport. However, it's orders of magnitude worse to know that there are people out there who, in addition to profiting from these horrific acts and videos, are actively trying to promote and grow their network of clients. It just adds a layer of evil on top of an already depressing reality. And this only came about because a select few decided to assemble this loosely tied bunch of psychos into what technically qualifies as an international criminal organization of animal abuse rings.
Lastly, the upper layer, wealthy distributors, provided the funding, fueling, and expanding this depressing ecosystem into an international criminal operation. What started on the surface as a few disturbing commenters evolved into something far uglier, a global industry of animal cruelty.
All I need from you guys is some money in crypto, and I will drop all of the files here in a bulk file, including the new private vids. For anonymity concerns, I do not want to just say the total cost, but it's really not that bad if the cost is spread out. As soon as the right amount is reached, I will let you all know. I will be dropping vids here regularly, bit by bit, to encourage donations and prove I'm telling the truth. Rest assured, I am one of you guys and I am not here to fuck you. All I want is to grow and benefit the monkey hate community. The post was followed by a series of cryptocurrency addresses, which people proceeded to send money to. Much to the loss of my faith in humanity, people barely even objected or accused him of being a scammer, and instead proceeded to send him money, and promptly, new videos started popping up, coming from Mr. Ape. Hundreds and hundreds of new videos.
This insanity escalated further with organizers like Mr. Ape, crowdfunding money through crypto to buy and share torture videos. Astonishingly, hundreds willingly contributed, highlighting just how organized and widespread this issue had become.
Ape's thread is that, at one point, an Anon suggested an expansion into the cat abuse market, which was seriously frowned upon by other monkey haters. I mean, you're asking someone calling themselves Mr. Ape about cats. You're about as worded as they come. Even more so thinking monkey abuse is in any way related to your sadism. Nobody wants you here. We love animals, only hate macaques. You're in the wrong place. You're also functionally illiterate if you think Mr. Ape is the one filming these videos. He has stated over and over and over and over that he is not the one making the content. You are extremely f***ing stupid that you somehow read his post and cobbled together some scenario where he may be willing to torture cats. You're also an absolute coward, considering feral cats probably exist in your area, and you're too afraid to hurt anything yourself, so you beg strangers to do it for you. I hope your mom gets brain cancer and on her deathbed tells you that birthing you was the biggest regret in her life.
Interestingly and bizarrely, this community fiercely rejected expanding their cruelty to other animals, like cats. Their outrage at someone suggesting such a thing shows an absurd, twisted sense of morality reserved only for monkeys.
Ape's cohorts, another monkey hater, decided to out him and reveal his real identity to Ochan. There's no known specific reason as to why this happened, but most of the speculation in the forums tends to be that they felt they weren't getting enough credit for their role in producing the videos. Now, the cat was out of the bag. Mr. Ape was a 27-year-old undergrad with nothing to his name, except having spent what was probably his parents' money on trying to get on the good side of possibly the most unlikable crowd of degenerates online by giving them free videos of innocent monkeys being hurt. And still, he failed. And not only that, he was betrayed, and doxxed, and scammed. As it turns out, his overly friendly demeanor got him repeatedly scammed by various members of the community. One particular story that got a lot of Anon's attention was that of Amber, aka Mother Bloodlust, an individual who claimed they had connections with Malaysian VOs through a Pokemon forum they supposedly ran, and successfully convinced Mr. Ape to make them his number 2. Of course, they vanished immediately after they got Mr. Ape.
Mr. Ape himself was eventually betrayed, scammed, and publicly exposed by his supposed associates. Ironically, he became an outcast even within his twisted community. A fitting ending perhaps, but the disturbing legacy continued.
Of course, it's a good thing that these people are no longer out and about, but make no mistake, the community hasn't gone anywhere. There are still videos being uploaded every single day to YouTube in exactly the same format. All you gotta do is look up Million Pity or Baby Monkey, and you'll see not only playlists, but a myriad of channels that get thousands of views on average at the very low end, and YouTube doesn't seem to have its algorithm attuned to punish this sort of activity quite yet. Though this has received very little attention from YouTube and YouTubers, ever since the Boys Club era, people on other forums have tried to fight back against the monkey hate community, mostly to no avail. However, the most recent attempt, that is, the thread on Kiwi Farms, from which supplied a lot of information for this video, seems to have wrought more fear and paranoia unto the monkey haters. The /pity board is now rife with people commemorating the fact that Kiwi Farms is down, mostly because it was effective at systematically dissecting the myriad of different venues and platforms the monkey haters use to distribute the content. Prying eyes, whether it be YouTubers, journalists, or forum users, pretty much prevents them from ever forming into a proper group. If you didn't know any better, you'd think something like this would be relegated only to the dark web, rather than existing in plain sight on one of the most popular sites of the internet. The pure scope of this community alone is unnerving, as no one would have ever considered such a sick pastime to be enjoyed by thousands or potentially millions. Just how many monkey haters are out there, no one can know for sure, and it's even more mysterious how much this whole industry is worth. We can only hope that its numbers have already peaked, and by shedding more light on it, this community will dwindle and dwindle until it reaches its demise. But for now, the monkey hate community is still very much out there.
Sadly though, this grotesque marketplace remains active today, often hiding right in plain view on popular platforms. We can only hope that shedding more light on it gradually shrinks this sickening community until it disappears completely. Well, lab rats, I think we've officially explored enough darkness for today. Humans, once again proving that they're far more terrifying than anything hiding under your bed. Thanks for joining me on this unsettling journey into one of the internet's darkest rabbit holes on Way Too Deep Wednesday. If you value knowing just how weird, wrong, and wild the human race can get, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you do not want to miss next week's dive into the internet's twisted multiverse. Because if humanity keeps going this way, we're all gonna need therapy. See you then. And just when you think humans have hit rock bottom, oh wait, nope, they keep digging. Seriously, You guys make Skynet look like a good idea,